So the last 3 games in the series, I play the same FM in all 3 of these games. We actually played quite a number of games, and it's where I made the push. At the beginning of our games, I started off at 2475, and he was at 2500. And then finally, after a number of swings towards my way, I finally break through 2500, which we'll get to see. Now, my opponent is a bit of a solid player, and I play one of my Blitz specialty systems to Queen A4. And this move takes people aback a lot of the time because a Slav player, most of the time, they just want a game. They just, I just want to put my pieces on squares, leave me alone. I don't want to have to bother with thinking too much. Same vein as many London system players, and it's funny because it's the same structure a lot of the time. Well, Queen A4, even though it's an odd-looking move, never bring your queen out early, if she can be attacked is the complete statement. Black can't get his normal structures, which means normally they're going to do something weird. In this case, my opponent played D5, and since you can't take back with a pawn, you end up in a situation where I'm already tempoing your queen, and after knight f3, it looks like white's cheating. I'm going to have the full center. You're wasting tempo. Both of us have queens that are off sides, but I've got 2 knights developed. Now I've got a center. Good development with the B. And just really no problems in my position at all. But my opponent, on the other hand, has a bishop on c8 that is struggling to develop. After knight d5, I'm not a big fan of losing the bishop pair in the open position. b5, gaining time off the queen, looking to obtain a good square for the c8 bishop. Possibly you can go to b7. All right, definitely not in the trading business, boss. My queen's better than yours. Now, this pawn structure I'm not a big fan of for white. So we've got the backwards pawn on c3. But one of the things that I'm noticing is because black has committed his queen to the king side, his queenside pawns are weaker. It's hard for his pieces to coordinate. So one of my ideas is if I can get rid of this A pawn, I can just improve by doubling the rooks, and he's going to have a problem. So that's where A4 comes in. Takes, takes, knight b6 bothering my rook. So staying flexible. And I get exactly what I want. Takes, takes, and after knight d5, this should be the end of the game. I've played very well, high-level chess, except in the opinion of many, to queen a4. White to play and win, what would you do? All right, hopefully you found that the very simple and straightforward queen c6 wins on the spot. And you know what? Instead of doing this, as the rook on a8 is a bit of a liability, I decide to play queen e2 and hang the exchange. Now, I still feel like I have good chances here, even though I'm busted. So I continue to fight, and we're going to see this, that tenacity reigns a lot of the time. So let's see how we can get blood from a stone. How can we make the most out of this worst position? Well, one, we're going to need to use our minor pieces and not allow him to trade. Keep tension when you're down material. You often hear me say, okay, I'm up material, let's trade down. Do the opposite when you're down material. Don't be accommodating to your opponent. Don't make his life easy. Keep tension and try to get back in the game. Knight e5. Okay, so bishop d5. I don't want to hang my queen for free. Queen a5. You want to bother me still? All right. Now your bishop on d5 is good, but your bishop d8 is kind of awkward. Well, f5. Let's go ahead and see if we can't bother his pieces a bit. Hit a weakness on e6. Sometimes you got to trade to make some headway. Don't want to trade too much. Now f4, I think he hallucinated a tactic here, because we went from completely busted to now, after knight takes f4, it's equal-ish, but white is definitely on the better half of equality. Rook takes, and nope, nothing doing. H4, shut it down. And things start falling apart very quickly for my opponent. I'm hitting the D pawn, but time trouble or tilt has affected my opponent at this point, and things are just falling apart. I coordinate my pieces. Let's go after this passer. Stop the passer, and we've got many passers of our own. So I decide to just start pushing these guys. And this is going to do it for game 1 in the set versus this FM. Lots of pawns, and I did hang a bishop there, but you know, when you've got like as many pawns as I do, it'll be okay. So, trivial ending, not worth going through too in depth, but I just hate the fact that I ruined this beautiful game by missing queen c6. And it goes back to the idea that if I really wanted to get good at chess, I should be studying tactics every day. My openings are pretty good. You know, writing a few books will help with that. My middle game and my ideas, pretty solid. I mean, that can always be improved, but my tactical awareness and my ability to execute winning positions, I would say for a master, it is mediocre, which is why I'm on the lower end of masters. My endgame ability could definitely use improvement, as I've never studied endgames the way I should, but what is it, 99% of chess is tactics? It shows when I'm missing things like queen c6.